Hello there. My name is Bredborg, and I work for Volvo Construction Equipment. And I think today I will go through a couple of things. And one is obviously the challenge that Volvo Construction Equipment have, or the company Volvo have, when it comes to decarbonization. Then a little bit of a touch about what the industry, how we see the industry, and what the industry needs to do, and how we need to work together in the value chain. And then I will go over to the technology paths. There's definitely different technology paths that we can take, and I will cover some of them. And then I will give you a little bit of insight where our investment goes in new things and what we are looking at. Maybe it's not going to come out in the future, but where we put the money right now to solve those problems. And then I will go into a use case around London, where I think there is an opportunity to really accelerate using carbon-free equipment. But before I do that, then I will just give you a few words about Volvo. So Volvo Group is separated from Volvo Cars. We still have a lot of connection with Volvo Cars. But Volvo Group is a transport company, like making transport of goods and people. And obviously we've been in electrification for a long time with our bus division. I mean, over 12 years ago, we got our first hybrid electric bus. And all our products is going towards electrification in the group. And then obviously Volvo as a group comes from the car, comes back from the 70s. We had some goals, and we kept those goals even when they were out of fashion. And that was that we were a safe car, but a boxy car. So, but always safety has been a big North Star for us. Fossil-free, we've done a lot of innovation when it comes to emission standards, and then more productive. The quality and the productivity and the performance of our product has been very important. But today I would just focus in on the fossil area, and obviously the other areas could have a long presentation too. So if we look at our challenges, Volvo as a company itself, we look at this from 4 different aspects. And then we are signing or have signed up to the science-based targets for 2050, that we will net zero by 2050. And then we think that to be net zero by 2050, then we need to get it in place by 2040, because it takes 10 years to change out the products in the marketplace. And then to make sure that we get to be ready by 2040, then we need to have some target by 2030, so we midterm to see that we are heading down the right path. So that's generally the direction that we have. And then the 4 areas is that one is our supply chain. And we're seeing here more partnership to do the right thing. We built the first vehicle of fossil-free fuel, fossil-free steel, and that is a way to work and partner with our suppliers to get that get CO2 out of that process. Then we have our own operations. We have a big footprint around the world for building machines, and that footprint produces about 85,000 tons of carbon a year. And then we have then said that we will cut that in half. And one way of obviously doing that is that we do a lot of repair, maintenance, extension, and so on those buildings, and we are then adapting using emission-free construction equipment while we're doing that. That's a small part, but it's one part of the things that we're doing of a lot of other parts. Then the biggest part, the biggest challenge we have, and that's what I'll be coming into later on, is obviously that we have a machine park of machines out working every day. And that produces, if we say 2019 as the baseline, 72 million tons of CO2. So that is the main target, to get that down. And then obviously you know that we've gone through emission regulations and so on, but now we're seeing that going up again because the industry is going up. So that I will cover a few more focus in on that area. And then obviously we have end of life. We have the product coming out of usage, and how do we take care of the product and circularity of the product. And then obviously with the new technologies, batteries, how do we take care of those batteries, and how do we reuse that into new products or other areas, or partner up with someone else. So all in all, 2040 we need to get this done by, and then 8 years from now we have a target that 30% of our product portfolio will be electrified or zero emission of some sort. And then this is the way we're gonna do this, is that We don't think that one technology is going to be the silver bullet. Maybe we will know that in the future, but we don't know exactly today what that technology. We know for a fact that, because we have machines out, and we have had machines out for 12 years in the area of battery electric with Volvo buses. We know that technology is very robust. It's doable. It can come to life. So big part of our portfolio will be battery electric. And that will be the first thing, or that is the first thing that we are heavily investing in right now. The next thing is obviously driven mostly by the bigger equipment and also Volvo trucks, is that we want to have fuel cells and battery fuel cells. So that is another technology that we are investing in. And I'll come back to a little bit of how we see that. But we don't see that just around the corner. That's further ahead, even if we have prototypes and so on and testing that. And then obviously the combustion engine will stay. So we will have alternative fuels in the combustion engine. And just to think about this from a Volvo perspective, we are one of the world's largest manufacturer of diesel engines. So we have huge plants and huge knowledge about diesel engine, and all of that needs now to change towards adapting those kind of technologies. And so we have a huge change ahead of us to implement this. Then going back to how that would exactly look in the product. So as I said before, is that it will start with the smaller products where we have a use case of the products not taking a lot of energy and then they are not used. I mean, you talked about before about idling. A lot of them in the diesel variant is idling a lot. So the smaller product will be our first targets of product. And we see that already here. There's quite a few of our competitors that has also showcasing product in that segment. And then as we move up, we will go further with the battery electric. We will, again, which has been in the industry for many years, is cable. We're looking at cables, how to do that in a little bit smarter way than before. And then when we come up to the bigger product where we're doing 24/7, then we're looking at fuel cells and also regenerate and reuse the energy as we're using the product. So we will move up from the smaller products up to the larger product, and that is our development path of an investment. And when it comes to then investing in those technologies, and this is, I have 3 slides here, 3 things that doesn't exist today. I mean, the company exists, Eccentrics exists, and that is a company that's owned 50% by Volvo and 50% of our biggest competitor in the trucking industry, Daimler, Mercedes trucks. And we started this company to develop this because we couldn't see that we could take all those development costs ourselves. And I don't foresee that they don't sell anything today. They just develop and test. And it's a fairly big company. And I don't see that we're going to have anything just around the corner. But we see that a lot of other companies in other industries get very interested in this and want to partner up with us even more. So this is growing quicker than we originally thought that it would do. So big interest in the hydrogen and the hydrogen fuel cell. But from my point of view, and maybe that's not shared by Volvo, but it is a little bit out in the field. It's not just around the corner. The other thing that we are looking at is obviously the whole battery technology part, and then the charging of that. And none of those here that you see in the picture is commercially viable, or out today. But we have a 23-ton excavator where we're looking at the different battery technologies that is tested with customers in Norway. I think it's all out there that machine we're looking at that. And then we're looking at also how do we balance where we have the battery technology. I mean, we talk a lot about battery packs, smart charging, but maybe we're going to move some of that battery technology and in the battery pack into the machines instead. So we can have the same machine with small batteries for some kind of applications where you only need a smaller battery, and huge, big, more capacity batteries in machines that needs to run in a different application. So the same machine with different type of battery packs in it. So we're moving that around, and that's going to come out quite soon. And then also that we can have then quicker charging quicker charging to the machines and more available charging to the machines. So that's something that is high on our agenda, because that's the next step of where we're going. Then the third thing, maybe a little bit more fun, but it's very serious. To Lego, Lego is a business, and it's a very big business. But when we do a lot of those projects, it's very hard for an engine manufacturer to think outside the box. We have rules, we have, like, this is the way we have always done it. So we needed to, in a lot of projects, and all you see here, we needed to go to someone else. And we went to Lego, and we said, can we not have your engineers together with our engineers, and then we throw in some kids too to help us? What would the future look like if you look at this? And they designed it. And it came out as a Lego model, and that Lego model was extremely successful. And then we built the real machine. So the machine, we have a machine today that is built out of the concept that we did from Lego. And Lego is, I mean, it's the perfect tool for agile thinking and try. I think they did several hundred models before we came up with this. And really the thing that we were after is that we want to look at different ways of optimizing the machines, or the way the machines are working, when we don't have the restrictions of hydraulics and diesel engines and so on. And you can do different things than when you don't have those limitations. So that was a very successful project of taking it a further step. But again, it's not, you can buy the Lego model, but not the real machine. So now a few words about, so we have a range of machines, and we're gonna launch more machines here in a few months' time. But nobody is really buying them, so so it's a little bit of a problem for us. And obviously, as you saw before, if we want to decarbonize this, then obviously we need to have a product that can be used. And where do we start? So we've gone in and looked at many places and many applications and many things where we think this could make sense. And one could be London. And we know London quite well from our bus business, because we have delivered buses into London for as long as there's been buses. And we've been very much in the electric mobility journey for buses. And London today is only investing in electric buses. There is no hybrids anymore in London. But the London case, I mean, also low emission zones is in many cities around the world, and there is also cities like Oxford that is zero emission zones. But in a zero emission zone, you can have no cars or vehicles that are with emission, except you can have a mini digger there. That's fine. So there's a little bit of work to do. But so this is just a few slides about what I think, or what we think is a good way of looking at this for going forward. So again, you know that it expanded October last year. So we went from a smaller area to a bigger area, and now you have penalties, but you don't have penalties on construction equipment. So that's fairly maybe not so good. And then we're talking about now in London that 2023 we're going to expand this even further. So all 32 boroughs will come in, and then that will be a double, almost double this area. And then we're also talking about, they are talking about going further than ultra-low to make parts of this be zero emission. So that's not 2023, but that's coming in too. So obviously what has happened when this came apart was that this drove the penalties, the congestion charge, I mean, a lot of those things, that it drove the sales of electrical vehicles just surged. I mean, buses is one example, and we cannot deliver as many buses as they want. But all those things that is put into London require charging. And it's for the future also, it needs to connect all those things. So at every second bus stop, you're going to charge the bus, the taxis needs to be charged, the trucks and lorries, all the cars. And every time they need to do this, they obviously need to dig in the ground. And they need to dig up the ground, and the first thing they dig up is obviously the cable, so they have electricity. And then there was an announcement last week that they are going to invest even further into this for the charging infrastructure. And a lot of other BP and Shell has made an announcement. But it doesn't make sense that we build this whole green infrastructure in a green city with diesel machines. There is no reason why we should really do that. And there is an alternative. There is an electric machine that is available that can drive this in. And then but I mean, it is more expensive because this technology is more expensive. And it's about £300 more expensive per week or per project that you put this in. And this is projects that is costing about £30,000. So there is an opportunity here to utilize electric machines when you come into this. So we can say that there is alignment between what Carl wants to do, and he didn't want to slow down the expansion of this. And everyone's saying that the charging infrastructure is not ready. He's saying it's going to be ready. It's not. And we also, I mean, that's the guy that runs our company. He's saying that we need to continue. I understand that you only sold 7 machines last month, but let's make our main investments into this because this is what the industry and the world needs. So we have an alignment. But I think that we need to go further. So the green dots here is that we have some alignment in London of this. But there's a lot of things in between. And in between, I don't think that we can do it one by one. I think we need to come together as a group and see how we can solve this together and partner and think outside the box. Because if we think that we can do everything the same way as we did before, it's obviously not going to happen because then it's going to be diesel. So we need to look, and then this was charging, but it could be water, it could be telecom or something else, that we're looking at together solving this problem and solving going emission-free. And then obviously we have a range of machines to do that fits that work very well with also the use case of how they're used and how many hours they need to be used and what kind of power and so they have. We have 2 machines today. We have a wheel loader and an excavator. And then at Hillhead, then we will obviously present 2 more excavators and 1 more wheel loader. And we will go downward in size. And then we will broaden up in size also when it comes to the capacities of batteries and then also charging to meet those requirements that we talked about. So coming to the end here, that was quick. So I'm obviously have a lot of passion about going zero emission in the area of smaller machines. And then also go in the cities where I think that the investment, the drive, the targets, it's in cities. So I very much think that we should continue our discussion and come up with ideas. And I really believe that we should collaborate around the value chain. So I would be happy to connect with you on LinkedIn and continue the discussion there. So with that, thank you very much.